Hello. I'll just sit quietly. I assume you don't really need me for anything.
No, no, I think it's going to be fine. I had to adjust a few things on the fly, but I think I found some reasonably okay lighting. It's going to be great. Hello, those of you joining us. I see one person so far. It's Dean. Dean, how's it going? If you're actually able to unmute yourselves, let me see if I can do that.
Hey, I'm doing well.
Go. Excellent. Glad to hear it. Also, welcome, Jacob. Thanks for joining us. Let me share my screen. We'll get started here. There's 9 people signed up for this. I'm gonna give them about another 45 seconds, see if anyone shows up, and we'll go ahead and get started. Okay. All right. This is not my usual setup, so can everyone see my screen?
I can see.
Excellent. Thank you. Thanks, Alex. Yes, make sure. I'm so used to my large monitor and my nice lighting and all that kind of stuff, so that's all right. Improvising, it's what we do. Okay, let's just go ahead and get started. Thanks everyone for joining us. I really appreciate it. My name is Eric Brown. I am the manager of success here at Harmonize. And what that basically means is like I'm going to be your go-to person for all things Harmonize support. So if you have any questions about something that you're using inside of Harmonize, maybe you wish it worked a little differently, or you're just running into a brick wall, long before you get frustrated, I'm always here to help you. So reach out to us. I am at support at harmonizelearning.com. The great part about that email address is it creates a ticket in our system, and I'm not the only one that sees it. Alex, who's also here with me, she sees it. She's an instructional designer here at Harmonize. But our CEO, Marcus, sees it. Our product lead, product manager, Andrew, sees it. So anytime you have any questions about anything that you're doing inside of Harmonize, I encourage you to reach out early, reach out often. We're always happy to hear what you have to say and help you work on whatever problem you're experiencing. And for today, we started a new webinar series. I'm calling it Eric's Office Hours. It says Harmonize Office Hours. But I noticed that since I've been here for the last a little over 3 years, that there are certain things that our users continually get tripped up on. And maybe I wanted to take some time to really focus on something that's bite-sized, something that's small. So we don't overwhelm you with a lot of information and we focus on the one thing that I think if you maybe adjust your approach a little bit, have a little bit more information, you should find this very useful. And office hours for today is all about grading your discussions. And it can be a little tricky, especially if you are a Canvas user. So we're going to go over that a little bit, and then we're going to show the differences between well, we won't spend too much time on the differences. I'm going to show you what it looks like inside of Canvas and what grading there looks like. And then I'm going to move on to our non-Canvas LMSs. I'm going to use Blackboard as an example to show you how grading works there. So let's go ahead and get started. I always like to start with first things first. So there we go. So just in case you have to drop early or you have a question about something that I said before, we didn't get back to it, this is the email address. So support at harmonizelearning.com is going to be your best friend. Use that to reach out to us if you have any questions or comments. And if you're more of a self-starter and you want to see some of our knowledge-based articles, maybe try to find a solution for yourself before reaching out to us, you can use help.harmonizelearning.com. Look through our knowledge-based articles. There's a lot of great information there. And if you're still stuck, there's also a button that you can click to submit a ticket to us online. So feel free to take advantage of that. So let's pretend that we are instructors and we're jumping in and we've successfully had our first harmonized discussion. We like the way it's looking. Our students are participating, and now we want to jump in and participate a little bit. And then we also want to start grading. So I'm going to start with Canvas here. And if you don't use Canvas, you can just kind of tune off a little bit. I'll make sure I make a loud noise to bring you back in so you start paying attention again. But a lot of it works for both systems, both Canvas and our non-Canvas LMSs. So let's look at a discussion that we created. I'm going to click on it here in Canvas. I'm going to open it. And right now I'm looking at it as a student. So let's just stop that. Let's jump back in as the instructor. Here we go. And you should all be familiar with this at this point. This is a standard graded harmonized discussion. It's got milestone requirements at the top, letting you know, letting your students know what exactly they need to do to be successful in this discussion and when they need to do it by. So I like this. It's a basic mid-century modern architecture discussion about scale. So building it, I use the Harmonize brainstorm, and then I use the generate focus areas, the Harmonize rubrics to build a rubric for this discussion. So I set my students up for success. I told them exactly what it was that we're talking about this week, what they need to do to be successful. And now I'm noticing that as soon as I jump in, I see these green progress bars, which means students have begun participating, and I'm ready to see what they're doing. So this is the live version of the discussion. Let me just do this. Open new tab, make it a little larger for us. There we go. There, it makes things a little easier. So this is the live version of the discussion. And of course, you are always free to scroll down and then jump in. All of your student posts show up just like this. If you would like to interact with them, you are free to just click on one or the other. It tells you what you have read and what you have not. Anything you haven't read yet is going to show up as new. And then it shows you the kind of engagement that this particular post has fostered. So you see that there's a comment here. This one has two comments. We haven't read any of them because that's what these little, the new and then the badge count represent. So let's go ahead and jump in. Now you can do it this way, and it looks very manageable because right now there are only two student posts. Well, let's say that this is a large class and maybe there are 30, 40, 50 posts in there. So you can do it this way. You click on any post, it flips over so you can see the more expanded view. And when you scroll down, you can see here's a post and then there's a comment. But here's what I want to encourage you to do, especially just when it comes to building that harmonized muscle memory. So let's say that we wanted a more organized view of this. We definitely want an overarching idea about how our students are doing, how many posts they've done, when was their last interaction, things of that nature. But I also want to view each discussion thread one by one. That's when you want to start by clicking activity. And I encourage you to do this no matter what date it is or when you're looking at this discussion, and I'll show you why. When I click activity, it brings me to the all students view of the Harmonized Discussion Activity Report. This is a great place to start. It's going to list all of your students here on the left, and then it's going to have a quick comprehensive breakdown about how many posts that they've left, how many comments, how many reactions, and then some of the more important things when it comes to grading, their milestone progress. We want to know who's finished, which is shown by the white check mark on the green background, who's in progress, shown by the ellipsis, and then who hasn't started yet. And also the next column shows you who is ready to grade. And this is going to be very important because the thing that I see a lot of users get tripped up on is Canvas Speed Grader. Now, Harmonize is an external tool, and an external tool that's linked to Canvas also has to use Speed Grader for its grading purposes. So the thing is, Harmonize work is sent to SpeedGrader when the final milestone due date elapses or the student fulfills all milestone requirements. Whichever one of those occurs first, that's when we actually send the work to SpeedGrader and it's viewable there. If you don't want to remember all of that, I encourage you to just go ahead and click on that activity button and then land here. That way you will always know. You never have to remember like, what's the rule about Harmonize and SpeedGrader? You just look at this and you can see It's not the due date yet because the due date is going to be over here on the right column. So we know they have 9 days left, but certain students have already started posting and some students are done. So if you're ready to jump in, you can see that the only person whose work is going to be in SpeedGrader is Fitz here. He's the only one ready to grade. If it's not there, that means nothing's in SpeedGrader for them, and that's fine. So let's go ahead and click on, let's start with Fitz since he's done, he's on the ball. I'm going to click on Fitz. And the great thing about this particular view is that it goes from the all students view, and then you can click on the individual student to see the individual student view. This is going to be very helpful. It shows the milestones first and foremost, the ones that were set for this particular discussion, and it shows the completion time. It looks like Fitz jumped in, and even though this isn't due until the 14th, and then the two comments aren't due until the 19th, he got all his work done on the 10th. Way to go, Fitz. Now he's free to continue coming in and participating, but right now he's fulfilled all things according to Harmonize, and we sent his work to SpeedGrader. So this is a live view of the discussion. It's not just a read-only report. So if you want to interact with this, you'll notice that his name's here. We see he has one post and two comments. If you want to scroll down, let's say you just want to jump in and you want to leave a reaction, you can do so from right here. So you click react, you read this, you like what he's done, give it good point. That's a great way to give some quick feedback to your students. They love seeing those kind of badges on their work. And then if you're ready to leave a reply or to read some of the comments, you can go and click the two comments here. It expands, and we can see that from Fitz's original post, Abby has jumped in, left a response. That's great. And also, there's some more stuff down here. So Fitz has also responded to a couple of his course mates. Great. And those are going to be down here under public participation and comments. So if at any time you want to jump in, let's say you're telling Fitz that this is great. We not only left a reaction for him, but maybe we can also click reply, and you can tell him, great work, and tell him make sure he reads the post of his other students and maybe keeps the conversation going. Maybe you identify the student as an early starter and you want him to serve as the example for the rest of the classmates. Tell him that great work. Make sure you keep jumping in. And you can leave this public if you'd like, but I also wanted to highlight something that I don't think it's used often enough, but you can click the action button here and you can mark this comment as private. Private comments are very important. And it's helpful whenever you want to say something directly to that student and you don't, maybe you want to do it within the context of this particular post or this particular comment, but maybe you don't want any of the other students to see it. So if you change this to private, you can leave all of your comments here and only you and Fitz will see it. When he comes in, he'll be able to see that like, oh, this is a private comment from my instructor, but none of the other students who have commented on his work or who will view this work in the future will be able to see those private comments. So you can do that for comments, you can do that for replies. I encourage you to throw that in there. I find it very useful. I was working with one of our clients recently who saw that some of the students were getting a bit confused about what exactly they were supposed to post. And what they ended up doing was going in and updating the instructions, which is a great idea. But then also finding those students who were confused and leaving these private comments. It's like, hey, I'm glad you jumped in, you participated, but this is a little off base. Go back and reread the instructions that have been updated and try again. And I find that that's a great way to do it. They can come back in, they can edit their work as long as the grade hasn't been submitted for them. But it's a great way to interact with your students, either behind the scenes or just in front so everyone can see. But it's a great way to help guide the harmonized discussion. So do keep that in mind. I'm going to leave that private. I'm going to click publish. And it's going to tell you that this comment is private between you and Fitz, and it's not recorded in the milestone activity counts. That's fine. I'm the instructor. I don't need it to be counted in the milestone activity counts. I'm going to click publish. Now, it's important to note that only instructors can trigger a private comment or a private comment thread. It's going to have to be you. So a student can't come in and send something private to you. If they want to do so, they should use your LMS messaging system or Harmonize chat. So I've jumped in. That's great. I'm participating. I'm looking at some of the public participation comments. Everything looks good. And so you would just move through this. You can either click on previous person or next person, or you can choose a different student from the drop down. but you don't have to worry about those speed grader limitations here because this is always going to be the most up-to-date version of the discussion. And so per student, you can see the kind of post that they made. I see Laverne here has done a post, but has not done 2 comments. That's fine. If you just want to jump in and leave a post or encourage her, you can do that. Maybe it's inspiring, and that'll show up just like that. So small group here. I've given you the chance to unmute yourself. So if you have any questions as I move through this, please feel free to interrupt me, or I'll leave some time for questions at the end, and we can move through things then as well. So now that we've talked about the clicking the Harmonize discussion activity button and making sure that's one of the first things we do when we're ready to interact with the discussion, whether it be just leaving posts and comments or for grading, always start with the activity. Now let's say that we saw the one student who is done and we do want to grade it. So that's easy enough to do. It's down a little bit. I'm going to close the activity, and now I'm right back to the standard view of the Harmonize discussion. Harmonize exists within this iframe that Canvas provides. Everything outside of this iframe is going to be Canvas. So I'm going to click on Speed Grader, and you'll see what I talked about before, that only students who have fulfilled all the milestone requirements are going to show up inside of the Speed Grader view because it is prior to the due date. Now, see, this is Fitz's work. You'll notice that you get the same view. In the left-hand window, this is all going to be the active discussion of Harmonize. So if you want to jump in from here and make some changes, maybe leave some grade comments, you absolutely can. But then when you're ready to grade, everything is going to be graded on the right-hand side. The right window is going to be Canvas, and you'll be able to see when that work was submitted. You can give them a grade, but because I created a rubric, I highly recommend you do the same. I can go ahead and grade from this rubric. So I'm going to move this over so you can see. This rubric was very easy for me to create. I use the Harmonize AI rubrics. I have plenty of knowledge-based articles about that if you're interested. But it kicks in really well here when it's time, when you have that large class especially, and it's time to start grading, you can easily see the ways that you're going to be grading your student, what you're going to be grading them against. They have the rubric, they can see it at all times, so can you. And all you have to do is read what they posted over here, and okay, this is great work. Maybe you give it the points accordingly, right? 25 here. If you want to leave a comment in between, you can absolutely can. And let's just say that this is just great work. 25, 25, 25, and maybe that's a 20. So whenever you're done, you can click Submit Assessment, and that's how quickly you can grade your students. Harmonize is great because it gives you the work right here. So all of the posts are going to be at the top. And if you want to see the type of comments that they've left for other students, scroll further down and they're going to be listed right here. So it's easy for you to grade not only their personal work, but how they've critiqued their fellow classmates and the kind of participation that they've done. So the rubric sits right here. All of this gets automatically sent to your Canvas gradebook. Whenever you create a graded harmonized discussion, a corresponding Canvas gradebook column is created. And whatever you enter here is going to go straight there for your students to immediately see if that's a setting that you have on your gradebook. So 95 is there. Whenever Fitz logs in next, you will see that there's a new grade, and he'll be able to not only see his grade, but go through and understand why he was given the points that he was given for each one. So that's grading within Canvas. The biggest thing, of course, activity button first, look at the discussion activity. When you see the column that says this student is ready to grade, then you come into SpeedGrader, and then you're free to leave the grade. If you attempt to stay in this view and leave grades for other students who have not completed the requirements, you will see this instead. The student does not have a submission. And of course, if you start to grade them, they will be very confused. They will say, I thought this was due on the 19th. Why are you giving me a 0 so soon? So please keep that in mind as you grade in Canvas. It's a very easy, straightforward process. Use the tools that are given to you, make it just straightforward, make it easy on yourself so you can move through the students, give them the feedback that they need, and you can keep rolling. Any questions about Canvas before I move into Blackboard instead? All right, then let us. Oh, someone unmuted. Jacob, what can I
I
do for
had
you?
I had one when you were in your prior screen that shows their post versus their replies to students.
Hmm.
Were they the same color, or I thought maybe if they were color coded differently, that could help you distinguish between their post versus the ones that they gave to other students.
Ooh, that's a very good point. I'll write that down as a feature request. It's not a different color. It is in a different section.
Well,
So if
scroll down a little bit, and I think okay, so those
are you
do
talking about
have a
the
highlight. So, okay, there is some differences.
yes, okay. So you're not
Perfect.
talking about the actual background, you're talking about the outline here?
Yeah, so those purples are like their replies to students.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
good to know.
That's yeah, thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, it's a good point.
Perfect.
So
Thank you.
yes. Hmm. So that's always down here at the bottom. And the great part about it is it gives you just what the student has left as a comment. But if you're looking for the context of it, you can easily just click that. It'll take you directly to the post and you can see exactly what they're responding to. So it's very easy to navigate from there. But yes, Vicky makes a very good point. Poster at the top. Anything that they've left for other students, whether it be comment or reply, it's going to be down at the bottom. And it will have that light purple background. Okay, then let us jump into Blackboard, the other example that I'm using. And I chose Blackboard just because on our original participant list, those of us who didn't join us, a lot of them were Blackboard users, second to Canvas users. So if you're using Brightspace or Moodle, it's going to operate basically the same way inside of Harmonize. Now, it's going to look a little different outside of it. Your gradebook is going to be different, of course. Your discussion or your course module layouts will be different, but inside of Harmonize it will function the same way. And the biggest difference here is going to be instead of an activity button, you get a grades and activity button. The other LMSs do not have a speed grader, which we're forced to use. And because of that, we're able to actually build in a built-in harmonized grading system, which is awesome. So same thing here. I just made this architectural scale a discussion inside of Blackboard, and we see that some students have posted already. Looks like actually 100% of the students have posted. Great. There's only two students in this class. Not all of them have done the comments. So let's just jump in and let's say we're ready to participate. I am going to, actually, let's open this new tab, make things a little easier for us. There we go. And I'm going to click on grades and activity whenever I'm ready to participate or I'm ready to grade. And you'll see you are brought to the same all students view of the discussion activity report. You'll get a quick overview of how many posts, how many comments, how many reactions, milestone progress, whether or not they're ready to grade, and then a last interaction and the final due date. All this information at your fingertips, very easy for you to navigate. So James is complete. So let's jump into James first. I'm going to click on James and notice things are a little bit different inside of the non-Canvas LMSs. Instead of on the right-hand side, it being your LMS, this is all going to be harmonized. So we give you a space on the right-hand side because I made a rubric with harmonized rubrics. You can enter all of this here, and it works the same way as I just showed you in Canvas. Enter the point systems here, and when you're done, you go ahead and click Submit Next, and you're good to go. The left-hand side, same thing. James's post is going to be at the top, everything that you need. And when you scroll down, you can see the comments that he's left for other students. And the milestone progress, again, very important. You'll see that even though this was due on the 14th and the 19th, James jumped in on the 10th, knocked it out. Way to go, James. When you're ready to grade, you just click this and it's going to expand all of the different categories for you. But let's say it's excellent. You just go ahead and click it, it highlights and it enters the points for you right here. And it lets you know that whenever you're in the middle of this, if you have to leave for whatever reason, Harmonize will save it, but it will let you know that there's some pending changes that haven't been submitted yet. So keep that in mind as you scroll down. It's easy to lose. Let's say we keep going through it. There we go. And this one also excellent. This one also excellent. And let's say this one is proficient. Nice. And overall feedback is going to be here. If you need to override this grade for whatever reason, you just turn that on and you can change whatever the grade is down here. Let's say we like what the rubric did. If you want to leave additional gradebook comments, please do so right here. And you click submit next, or you can preview the submission if you like. And it's going to show you exactly what's going to be sent to your LMS gradebook. Now, there's not going to be a lot of formatting here because we're an external tool. We're forced to flatten things out to meet LTI standards. But what you enter in here is going to be sent to the LMS gradebook without any problems. So do keep that in mind. You should be good to go. Let's go back to James. And there it is. If ever you need to override it, like I said, you click that, change the grade. It's always up to you, to the instructor, what grade is sent to the gradebook. But yes, that is how easily you can move through grading in both Canvas and the other LMSs, great, Blackboard, Moodle, Brightspace, and I always feel like I'm missing one. So there are a lot of LMSs to go around. So hopefully this answers some of the questions, shows you how quickly you're able to jump in and then get to the pertinent information that you need to interact with your students and then give them a grade. We have a few minutes left. Does anyone have any questions? Anything that you've run into in your semester that maybe you had a question about, or have a question about how to set this up maybe? I'm happy to answer any questions related to grading. Or if you have something else, I'm happy to take it offline and we can maybe get another meeting going to talk about your specific issues. Okay. It's always interesting trying to model the weighting in webinars like this, but great. Well, Dean, Jacob, I thank you both for joining me for these office hours. This is, like I said, this is a new concept for us. So if you have other ideas about maybe a 30-minute webinar that you'd like to see me focus on and the different kind of office hours, whether it be how to quickly build a discussion, whether it be about harmonized AI tools, let me know. Please send me an email, support@harmonizelearning.com, and I would happily build one of those for you and have set aside a 30 minutes. Or if it's more personal to what you're doing at your school, happy to set aside half an hour just to talk to you about that as well.
That sounds great, Eric. Appreciate it, man.
All right. Thank you both for joining me.
Thank you.
And all right, have a great day.
You do the same.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.